Benzinger on Health with secondopinion.org. Today we're going to be discussing a very important mineral, potassium. It's interesting that right away we usually go into the best forms of potassium. It's interesting that potassium is absorbed in such forms as citrate, glycinate, and chelate, or chloride, but in most cases potassium is absorbed very well. Usually you need quite a bit of it because it's very important to individual cell function. Potassium, extremely important, easy to get, and frequently not supplemented unless you're on medications that actually force it out of your system. One thing you need to know if you are supplementing potassium is the mineral dirty secret. And that is, when purchasing, in this case, potassium, you must find out the total amount of potassium inside the capsule that you're purchasing. Why? If you bought a potassium citrate, let's say, and if in fact it says it's 100 milligrams and you need 100 milligrams of potassium each time that you take a tablet, what's interesting is this. Right now we don't have to tell you, people who produce this stuff do not have to tell you that the real truth is there's only 10 milligrams of potassium in there and 90 milligrams is the filler. It doesn't have to tell you. So thus many of you are undertaking the needs that your body have simply because it didn't tell you. Otherwise, you would have taken 10 of them or gotten one that actually had more potassium in each tablet. Well, at Physicians Premium, we will never ever have anything listed like potassium. If it says it's 100 milligram, it's because there's 100 milligram of potassium in that supplement, in each one of those capsules. Because otherwise, we've got literally hundreds of thousands of people undertaking what they need simply because at this point it's not mandated that they tell you exactly what's in there. And if potassium is expensive to put in, they're usually going to use the other element and save themselves money while making more profit. And that is not okay with me. Reason why is we're here to help each other as human beings. We need to be able to be honest and upfront with people so that they know what they're buying does the right thing for their condition, so that they don't go off into other disease processes simply because they weren't supplementing appropriately because somebody from a manufacturing standpoint misled you. It is wrong. It just shouldn't happen. A mineral is an organic substance too, and it's vital for your life. Majority of minerals cannot be synthesized in the body, thus the diet or supplementation has to be added to accomplish that goal. I always put in this little picture of broccoli. Now the reason I do is if you look at all these elements, if you're not eating good amounts of raw fruits and vegetables, whole grains, not enriched, whole grains and lean meats, in most cases, you got to realize I can't make what this or what an apple will give you in a supplement form. So if you're going to eat a bad, crummy diet and think that supplements alone are going to correct your issue, the truth is that is not going to happen. So don't be misled. You must have a good diet with your supplements to be able to get the best result from them. Okay? The conditions that specifically potassium seems to help in your body is congestive heart failure. Some of you suffering from that now wish probably 20, 30 years ago you understood all that we're talking about. You might have been able to prevent it or postponed it 20 years. Wouldn't that have been worth it for you too? High blood pressure, kidney stones, breathlessness, a dry mouth, or hypergag reflex. You know, you barely get anything back in your throat and you're almost like you're going to throw up. That can be potassium deficiency, which by the way isn't common, but it does happen. Food sources, dairy is one of them. Meats, poultry, fish, legumes, fresh fruits, and whole grains. Okay? The risk group, those on diuretic medications, and the toxicity is almost, it just hardly ever happens, but muscle fatigue and an irregular heartbeat would be the first indicators. Medications that will interfere with it beyond those that are like high blood pressure medications. Asthma medications, amoxicillin, an antibiotic, aspirin, heart medications, which we've already mentioned, sinus medications, many heart and blood pressure medications in general will do it. Hydrocortisone pushes it out quickly. Hydrocodone does the same. Antibacterial and antiviral medications, which we've kind of mentioned with the amoxicillin, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's medications. All these will sabotage your potassium levels. And remember, it's an element your body must have. The recommended RDA dose is 4,700 milligrams per day, but if you're on these other medications, for you, this might not be an adequate amount of dose. Okay? Dr. Benzinger's advanced information, high blood pressure and heart disease. There is growing evidence that lower levels of potassium may be responsible for the high blood pressure that you're taking the medication. That medication is forcing out potassium, which might be feeding back the blood pressure problem. Isn't that scary? You need to really start looking at your doses of potassium and not just take enough to keep away from cramps, but take enough to get your levels up to an optimal, healthy level. So, possibility, getting your potassium to the right level over time could manage your blood pressure. Wouldn't that be worth it? Fluid balance in the body. Potassium is essential for maintaining fluid balance in our cells and is required for enzymatic reaction in every single cell. And that and magnesium, these are big deals. That's why you'll find some of our supplementation with those two things put together because of their great benefit to you. It is used as a nerve transmission, muscle contraction, and hormone function. So is it an important element? Major important element. The areas that it helps, again, congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, kidney stones, breathlessness, unusual cases, dry mouth, and hypergag reflex. Potassium, important? Very important. And if you deal with some of these type conditions, that might be where you start investigating your time and efforts and maybe make a difference on managing your own condition yourself, empowering you to give back quality of your life that you both, all of you deserve. Hopefully this helps you. I pray that it has encouraged you to know that there's other ways to help yourself stay well. This is Dr. Benzinger on Health with secondopinion.org. We will look for you next time, and may God bless you.